Hello, welcome to another episode of Sports Talk, the show where we bring you closer to the action in the world of sports. I'm your host, Rocco Law, joined here in the studio with my co-host, Brandon Hisso. Brandon, we begin today with the transition into the winter season. Now that the fall sports have ended, the winter season is on its way. What's to come on the horizon?
Rocco, the two main sports in the winter season are really boys basketball and girls basketball. I know the boys basketball team added a key member to the squad in Makai Beckett. Makai came from St. Anthony's, where he was really one of the star players there. I really think he can be a star player at Mepham. And after coming from a Catholic League division, which is a lot better than the public school league. And for the girls, it's really Lori Cloche and Maxine Bresnaider, who you did get to sit down with for this week in our episode of The View.
And you can't forget Coach Fallon and Coach Carafanis, really trying to go for the conference title this year. And you can't forget about wrestling with Coach Arresto. They did lose a lot of key wrestlers last year, their key seniors. But they look to push forward with a young core, and they look to go for the conference this year.
Rocco, in this week's segment of The View, you sat down with senior varsity center Maxine Bresnaider. Let's see what she had to say.
On this week's Sports Talk segment, The View, senior Mepham girls varsity basketball center Maxine Bresnaider joins the show. Welcome, Maxine.
I'm glad to be here.
Now, before we begin with the team, let's talk about you. Earning your final year here at Mepham, you're now one of the experienced seniors on this team. How would you be expected to lead?
We have to communicate on the court, on and off, with the newcomers coming in, make sure they know what the team's been like in the past and how we can make it better for this season.
It's only been a few weeks since the start of tryouts, but how has the team looked? Has everything come together so far?
So far we have a lot to work on, but we're doing good at developing strong, aggressive defense for the season.
Now about the confidence. Is the confidence in this team heading into the season, just about right, just high?
Yeah, we have confidence. We have a lot of good players coming up and returning from last year.
So who are the new players who you think will step up and step in and fill the spots from last year's graduates? Some maybe from Julia Anderson and Marianne Pagonis.
We have Lori Croce, who's going to be replacing Marianne as our point guard. And we have a lot of underclassmen like Julia Rawlinson and Jill Mayer all coming up.
Well, we just about ran out of time for this week's Sports Talk segment, The View. Thank you for joining us on the show, Maxine. Mepham Senior Varsity Center, Maxine Bresnaider.
Rocco, Coach Mulvey told us that Maxine's going to be one of the key threats for the Pirates after all their girls graduated from last year.
You're right, Brian. It was great sitting down with her on this week's segment. Now on to our main segment. This past season in 2018, the New York Yankees won 100 games and were the third best team in all of the majors this past season. The Yankees went on to host a wild card game for the second straight year at Yankee Stadium. They then beat the Oakland Athletics 7-2, allowing them to advance to the ALDS against a team who had 108 wins this season, the Boston Red Sox. Even though the Yankees had momentum, splitting the first two games at Fenway Park, the Yankees couldn't hold their ground, while abysmal play at home cost them the series, losing 3 games to 1, to the eventual World Series champions and bitter rival, the Boston Red Sox. So, Brandon, this brings up the question, is the 100-win season for the Yankees a failure?
Winning 100 games for me is not really a failure. They did have some issues with their starting rotation and with some players being hurt, and somebody like Gary Sanchez, who Brian Cashman says could be one of the best hitters on the Yankees, hitting 180 throughout the year. But 100 wins is not a failure for me. What is your input on that?
Brandon, I'm going to take a completely different side to what you're saying right now. Brandon, before I get into my point, I'm going to give you a quote that an infamous Yankee owner once said. Winning is the most important thing in life after breathing. You know who said that? The boss, George Steinbrenner, said that in 1998. Brandon, since the start of the era of Steinbrenner, the mentality has always been, if you didn't win the World Series, the season is in fact a failure. No ifs or buts about it. This is New York, Brandon. The center of the universe, the Big Apple. Right? You can get away with that, with a failing season anywhere else, the Mets included. Besides the New York Yankees, it's all about winning here in New York, Brandon. And that type of mentality has held true since Steinbrenner first took over the Yankees in the 70s. Steinbrenner set the gold standard, and in my opinion, that's what every franchise should model thereafter, no matter the sport.
In off-season news, as you know, Rocco, last week the Yankees made a trade with the Seattle Mariners, sending Yankees' #1 prospect, Justice Sheffield, and 2 other prospects for Mariners ace, James Paxton. Rocco, who do you think won that trade?
Well, Brandon, depending on who you talk to, but I really think that the Yankees won in this trade. I mean, they traded Justice Sheffield, came in at the end of the season last year from the bullpen, had a couple outings, didn't look so good. His fastball command wasn't as coming up, the scouting report. His fastball was not, he didn't have a good command of the fastball. And also the other two prospects, if some a little iffy about it. You would have lost them in the arbitration deals. But really, the Yankees won in this deal. They added another, a potential ace to the rotation, possibly, strengthening the bullpen. But it's obvious to see that the Yankees are getting towards their goal, finally having the pieces together to win the World Series. They have the offense. I think they are 1 or 2 pitchers away from really having that dominant rotation, and the infield defense could use a bit of work. What else is really missing from this team?
I definitely agree with you that they need a starting pitcher. Go after Patrick Corbin. Probably the ace for the Diamondbacks last year. A really hard threat in the NL. But I heard some rumors that they're looking at Manny Machado. No, we don't need Manny Machado. I think we can have Torres move over to short until Didi comes back. But when Didi comes back, what are you going to take out? Didi over Machado? I trust Didi in Yankee Stadium, lefty, getting into right field. And what are you going to do, throw him at third base? I'm not taking out Andujar.
And even with a complete outfield for the Yankees, Brian, what about the Bryce Harper rumors? Are they true? Do you think they're true?
No, the Yankees don't need Bryce Harper. What are they? They have Hicks, they have Gardner or Frazier, and they have Judge. They can throw Stanton out and left if they need him, but if they get Harper, they have to sit a star player. There's no need to get Harper.
Right, I completely agree. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Sports Talk. Make sure to check out our Instagram at BNB Sports for all of our sports updates. As always, I'm Rocco Law here with Brandon Hissop from the BNB studio, and we'll see you next time when we are always talking sports. Gonzaga, deep loss to Gonzaga in the Maui as we know. In the power rankings, they're now number 1 in the nation. Even though they're so few, I guess mine.